Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. Peace. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? Hope all is well. I'm doing pretty good myself. God is good all the time. God is great, as I always say. So, what I want to talk about is my man Terrence Crawford. He was in Puerto Rico recently, and he went to a press conference that was hosted by the WBO organization. And, he was interviewed and asked his opinion on the Errol Spence and Ugas fight that's coming up on April 16th in Texas Stadium. Of course, Terrence Crawford is the WBO champion. He's 38-0 with 29 knockouts. And he said that he would like to face the winner, of course. Well, first he said that they asked him what he thought about the fight. And he said he would give Errol Spence a little bit of an edge. But he said Ugas has what it takes to derail Errol Spence. He's a good fighter. He's a tough fighter. And he says, it's not going to be no pushover. But again, he said he would give Errol Spence the edge, a little bit of an edge, but he said Ugas is definitely in that fight. But he said at the end of the day, he wants to fight the winner of Errol Spence and Ugas. And we know that Errol Spence said something recently about how it would be easier. It should be easier, he said. This is what he said. To make the fight, since Crawford is not with Bob Arum anymore in Top Rank. He's independent right now until he makes a decision. And it also looks like he may be fighting a 2-fight deal with PBC to fight Thurman in July. This is what's being reported. And then Errol Spence in the fall, which would be after the Ugas fight anyway, because they fight next month in April. So anyway, Crawford is just basically saying, man, he wants that fight. And he said, he also mentioned that he would like the fight. If he can't get that fight, which we all know he should get, if he can't get that fight, he said he would like to fight the winner of Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano, the junior middleweight fight, 154. And that fight is on May 14th in Los Angeles, California, at the Crypto Arena, I believe. So he said he would like to get the winner of that fight. And if he moves up to 154, he'll get basically, because he's a champ at 147, he'll get the same treatment he would get being at 147, technically, right? Even though he won't be a champion up there, he'll be coming up to fight. But preferably, they'll give him the treatment that he gets at 147, so he'll be right in the mix at 154. He won't be at the bottom of the map. You know what I mean? That's the point. So we'll see what happens, man. Of course, we all want Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, man. That's the fight that we want. That's the fight that should happen. That's a fight that, believe it or not, people might not like this. But remember, Crawford fought at 135, 140, and now he's at 147. He was undisputed at 140, undisputed champion. So that's in his history, right? When he retires and he goes into the Boxing Hall of Fame, that's going to be mentioned about him, right? Errol Spence needs this fight just as much as Crawford does, okay? Because he's not. I'm not saying undisputed makes you all that, but what I am saying is Crawford is one of those fighters that came up, from 135 to 147. So he was in 3 divisions. So that says some good things about him, all right? And he did well in all 3 divisions. So that's what I'm trying to say. Right, so Errol Spence has been at 147 the whole time, and he's just getting ready to fight for 2 belts. And then he's saying, well, he wants to move up to 154. But really, he needs that Crawford fight, man. He needs that fight for his legacy, if you really know. It ain't about undisputed, but it's about Terrence Crawford being an undefeated fighter and the level that he's on. That's a fight that you really want. They both need that fight on their record, but I would say Errol Spence needs it just as much. Okay, because Crawford has done some work in 3 different divisions. All right, so I'm just saying We hope that the fight gets made. We hope that that fight happens. All right? But I'm not counting Ugas out. Like Crawford said, I'm definitely not going to count him out because he definitely has what it takes to win. And if he can counter Errol Spence, right, and make him work, we saw what Sean Porter did. He made him work. And at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says, right, if it wasn't for that knockdown, that fight could have definitely went to Porter. I thought it was a draw regardless of the knockdown, but definitely would have been a draw. So it would have either been a draw or Porter could have won that fight without that knockdown, which made it a 10-8 round, right? That fight was very close, man, and Errol Spence's face showed it after the fight. He never looked like that. So he was in a dog fight. And for people to say, well, he fought Porter's fight, he could have made it easy if he would have boxed, well, then why didn't he do that? Floyd Mayweather said, I can adjust to all styles. So once you fight in one way, that's why you have a backup plan. And this is not working, then you go to plan B. You go to plan C if you have to. You have different plans. The same way Terrence Crawford could switch and go from orthodox to southpaw and back. That's switching up based on what you got in front of you. Jerron Bruce Enos can do the same thing. Spence is not that, but you still can have a backup plan. Okay, I'm brawling, I'm a boxer brawler, or I'm a brawler boxer, whichever you want to be. Sometimes you got to reverse it, switch it up. So if he wasn't able to do that with Porter, that's on him. Porter did what he had to do, and he definitely put him in a tough fight. I think Ugas should use the same plan. I think that should be a part of their plan, is to stay in front of Errol Spence and press him, move him backwards. He's not good fighting going backwards, Errol Spence. And if you notice, if you watch him, he don't throw a lot of punches when he goes backwards. He don't throw punches. So that's how you want to do. You want to press him. You don't want to let him just come forward. You see what I'm saying? And if he's coming forward, then you want to give him angles. You don't want to stand right there either. You want to give him some movement, move around. You know what I mean? But if you stand right in front of him, yeah, that's how he picks you apart, go to the body and all that. But if you moving, you going side to side, he can't do nothing. If you're moving him backwards, right, he's not throwing no punches. You go to his body, you do what you got to do, bam. That's what you need to do. All right? And that's the element that Bud Crawford brings to the table, definitely. If Ugas doesn't do it, Crawford will definitely do it. All right? So that's all I really got for today, man. Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. Everybody be safe, wear your mask, social distance, stay blessed, stay peaceful. Have a nice day. Peace.